There we go. And ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on the Averett Sports Network. We are about 11 minutes and 52 seconds away from the start of today's USA South Tournament Conference Championship matchup between the Scots of Covenant College and the Cougars of Averett University. I'm Davin Wilson, former Assistant Sports Information Director over here at Averett University, and I will be on the ones and twos for the call in today's game, today's match, bringing you all the big hits, the big points, the big digs, and all the highlights from this contest, which ought to be a absolutely spectacular meeting here between these two teams. Both of these two sides very used to this big setting here in the USA South Tournament. Covenant making its third appearance in the USA South Tournament Championship in the last 4 years. The last time they were in it, they ended up dropping one to Maryville, but I also believe that they do have a tournament championship in there as well. So it's going to be a great matchup here, as meanwhile Averett coming in, and Averett is making its second consecutive appearance in the USA South Tournament Conference Championship game, and they will look to bounce back from a heartbreaking loss last year against Meredith in 5 sets, and they will look to bring home the USA South Conference Championship. And of course, the Scots are a formidable opponent. They do pose a lot of different threats. They have a lot of different looks and can hurt you in a lot of different ways. So we're going to take a look here at a few notes here on the URW pregame show. Meanwhile, or first off, Averett comes into the game 32-3 overall. They are 16-0 in the USA South. Second consecutive season that the Cougars have pulled off a 16-0 mark in the conference. They have actually increased their winning streak now, conference winning streak, to 42 games, that is. So far, the Cougars have rolled through the USA South Tournament, picking up 3-0 sweeps in both their quarterfinals and semifinals matchup over Methodist University and Maryville College. The last victory against the Scots gave Averett its 32nd win of the year, setting a new program record for overall wins in a season. Also, today's game marks the 14th time Averett head coach Danny Miller has guided his squad to the conference tournament championship in his 23 seasons, and he has won 7 of them. Also, AU senior Hannah Shields was named the USA South Conference Player of the Year for the 3rd consecutive season, and Miller picked up his 9th and 2nd consecutive USA South Coach of the Year award. Also, Shields joined sophomore Brianna Williams on the USA South Conference first team, and the duo also combined to earn spots on the USA South East Division first team as well. Meanwhile, rounding out, the Cougars altogether had 4 USA South all-conference selections. Sarah Smoot picked up East Division second team honors, while junior Emily Stanley was named to the all-sportsmanship team. Meanwhile, Shields is the first player in USA South volleyball history to earn 3 Player of the Year awards, along with a Rookie of the Year honor as well. And Shields is also just the 3rd player in USA South history to earn 3 Player of the Year awards, joining former AU standouts Lynn Hayden and Bryn LaFlame Taylor. Also, as we mentioned earlier, the Cougars have won 43 conference games in a row, and the East Division regular season title was the, Cougars, I cannot pronounce that word to save my life. The title was the Cougars' 3rd consecutive and also league best 17th. So now we're going to turn the page and we're going to look at the Scots making the drive up from Lookout Mountain, Georgia. Covenant comes into this game at 23-7. They are also a perfect 13-0 in the USA South. They come into this game riding a 15-game win streak, including their 3-1 win against William Peace in the USA South semifinals. Meanwhile, the Scots fell to Averett 3-1 earlier this season, and even though obviously Averett and Covenant are in the same conference, since they are in different divisions, there is a little bit of a difference. They do not count all of the games towards USA South Conference play because it would just quite simply, it would be a little bit too much. So Covenant, though, they did drop their meeting to Averett 3-1 earlier this season. And meanwhile, Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get it right here eventually. It's been a while since I've done this, and I've got to get my rhythm back, but I will get it. So anyway, meanwhile for Covenant, we're looking here. Jenny and Skylar Moore, absolutely two dominant players for the Scots coming into this game. They were named to the USA South All-Conference First Team, and they both picked up First Team West Division honors as well. So those two will definitely be two players for Averett to watch out for. Hannah Harris was named to the Second Team West Division. Meanwhile, for both Moore sisters, it is the fourth straight year they have each garnered all USA South honors, which is one of the highest marks right now in USA South Conference history, and also really NCAA Division III volleyball as well. And as I mentioned earlier, the Scots are making their third appearance in the USA South Tournament Championship match over the last 4 seasons. So we're going to take a look here at some of the Hampton Wilkins keys to the game. For Covenant right now, one of their big keys is they're going to have to slow down Hannah Shields on both sides of the ball. Shields is currently the top offensive player in the conference this season, leading the league in kills with 500, kills per set 4.31, overall points 566, and points per set 4.9. Also, Shields is ranked in the top 10 in service aces with 51 and total digs with 426. Covenant will also look to contain sophomore Brianna Williams. Williams has averaged 2.40 kills per set with a conference-leading .424 hitting percentage to go along with 274 kills, 44 service aces, 105 digs, and 87 total blocks. The Scots will also need to keep an eye out for AU senior Sarah Smoot, who picked up her 4th all-conference honor this season, averaging 2.32 kills per set to go along with 265 kills, 111 digs, and 24 blocks. And finally, Emily Stanley will also be a problem for the Scots from the service line, where she leads the league in service aces with 71, and she also averages 3.65 digs per set. Meanwhile, for Averett, the Cougars are going to have their hands full with the dangerous sister combination of Jenny and Skylar Moore. Jenny leads the team in kills per set at 3.03, which also ranks 5th in the USA South, and in digs per set at 4.37. The senior has also recorded 15 double-doubles on the year and posted a career-high 32 digs on 2 separate occasions. So Jenny Moore, I was there to watch her play in the USA South Conference Tournament. Her freshman year against Maryville, she and Skylar both had big games there, and they have just continued their stellar careers in the 3 preceding years at Covenant. Meanwhile, Skylar Moore, she comes in, she is the program's all-time leader in assists. She passed that mark this year and leads the team with 8.92 per set, 3rd best in the conference, and has 17 double-doubles on the year. And meanwhile, the Cougars will also have to look out for Hannah Harris, as she poses a threat as well. So that's going to do it here for the URW postgame or pregame show. We're going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network, but when we come back, we will have all the action here in this USA South Conference Tournament final on the Averett Sports Network. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as we are now getting ready for the starting lineups. So first we're going to take a look here at the starting lineup for the Scots. So here is the starting lineup for them. You've got the combination of seniors Skylar and Jenny Moore. She will be backed up by, the two of them will be backed up by number 11, Allie Jakes, number 13, Chloe Storm, and number 16, Hannah Stewart. The Scots are coached by Joanna Amon. She is in her 5th season, and she is assisted by Christy Newman and Stephanie Wharton. Meanwhile, for the Cougars, number 3, Hannah Shields, will lead things off for the Cougars. She will be followed by number 7, senior Sarah Smoot. Number 8, Kaylee Steelman will back her up. Number 9, Lindsay Kroger will follow Steelman. And then number 17, Brianna Williams, also getting the starting nod. Averett is coached by Danny Miller. He is in his 23rd season, and he is assisted by Annie DeLloyd and Matt Stoltz, both in their first year. So quite a year for Annie and Matt, as they are both in their first year of their GA ships here in Averett and are already playing for a USA South Conference Tournament Championship. So both of these two teams come in. Covenant, the West Division's number 1 seed, 22-7 season record. They are 12-0 in the USA South. Meanwhile, the Cougars come in. They are the East Division's number 1 seed, and their season record is 31-3 and 16-0 in the USA South. Averett got here by defeating Methodist University and Maryville College, while meanwhile the Scots got here on the strength of their win against the Pacers of William Peace. So really looking forward to some great volleyball action here. Of course, this is Surviving Advanced time, and so one of these teams will look to keep their season, or both of these teams actually looking to keep their seasons alive. Unfortunately for one of them, one of their seasons will have to come to an end today. Of course, Averett, with its 32 wins, they also do have a chance of getting the outside, at-large NCAA tournament bid. And meanwhile, the Scots will need to clinch the championship if they want to make an appearance in the NCAA tournament this year. So we are just about underway here. It is just about that time. And I don't know about you guys back at home and here at the Grand Center, but I have been looking forward to this one since I found out the other night that Covenant would be meeting us in the, would be meeting Averett in the USA South Conference Tournament Championship. And these two teams are well familiar with each other. Covenant dropped the contest between these two sides earlier this year, 3-1 in Maryville. But anything can happen now that we are here in the playoffs. And when you have two players like Skylar and Jenny Moore for you, you are always in the contest. And we'll see if that is going to be enough to help Covenant get past the Cougars, or we'll see if Hannah Shields, Brianna Williams, and Sarah Smoot can't send the Cougars to the NCAA tournament on the strength of a USA South Championship. And so it's going to be Averett starting things off here. It's going to be number 22, Keenan Marks, back to serve. The junior out of Jacksonville, North Carolina, looking to get things started off right for the Cougars. And here is her first offering. Ball is over. Moore over to her sister Moore, over to Jenny. And that's Courier, and that's going to be met by number 17, Seahorn. So there's Shields, a little light hit over Moore, ready for it. Impressive rally going on between these two sides right now. Courier, and her attack is met at the net by Jenny Moore. And there's number 17, Seahorn. Her attack is met by the Cougars. The ball is pushed over. And there's another attack, and that's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore, getting hit with the attack error. So after an impressive rally between these two sides to start things off, a Moore attack error is going to give the Cougars an early 1-0 lead as Mark sets back to serve again. She's going to get it over. There's a set by Skylar over to her sister Jenny. Marks to Shields now. Shields gets up there. Nice block at the net by Covenant's defense. Shields once again, and Shields, man, that one barely touches the line. Looked like it had gone over and looked like it was going to be Covenant's point, but line judge rules that it stayed in bounds, and Averett is going to jump out to a 2-0 lead here in the first set. So Marks, there's Moore over to Seahorn, and Seahorn is going to get one past Keenan Marks, and that's going to cut the Scots deficit in half at 2-1. So we've got number 6, Hannah Harris, coming into the game for the Scots. Hannah Harris, one of the more dangerous players on this Scots team. So Jenny Moore's serve, a good one, but it is met by Smoot, who is in the game now. So there's the set from Moore to Chloe Storm. And Courier, and I can't tell exactly if that was a block or if it hit the net. There were 2 Covenant defenders there ready to play it, but I think that one went into the net, and it's now 2-2, but Jenny Moore unable to get her serve over the net, goes off the top of it, and Averett now with a 3-2 advantage as the ever-dangerous Hannah Shields, who is in the top 10 in service aces, will step back on the line for her first serve of the afternoon. There's the set by Moore over to number 6, Hannah Harris. Hannah Harris, a nice attack met by Averett's defense, though, and that's going to be number 4, Jenny Moore. Courier is there. Nice defensive play there again by Seahorn, and that's going to be number 6, Hannah Harris. And Smoot's going to get up and get some air, hammer one home, but Emily Moore there. So Moore, or actually that's going to be Jenny Moore, and Moore is going to be able to drop it in there. And we now have a 3-3 contest early on, and ladies and gentlemen, things gearing up to be an absolute barn burner. Would not be surprised at all if we went into 5 sets in this competition. So that one goes over to Stanley. Stanley to Marks. Marks over to Smoot. Smoot gets up, hammers it, but it's gonna, Smoot's hand will hit the net, and the point will go to Covenant, and it will give the Scots their first lead of the game at 4-3. So if you give me a second, the line judge is in the way right now. Cannot see who the serve is. It's Chloe Storm, and Chloe Storm is going to get hit with the service error as she's unable to get her attack inbounds, her service attempt inbounds. And we now have a deadlock game at 4-4 as Emily Stanley will step back on the line to serve. Here it comes, Stanley, a line drive shot over to Moore. There's the set by Skylar Moore. And Hannah Shields gets it over, and number 9, Emily Moore, reaches out, tries to make something happen, nothing going, and Averett now has a 5-4 advantage. So, ladies and gentlemen, while we're talking about the Moores, a trio of Moore sisters here playing for Covenant. You've got Skylar and Jenny, who are both seniors, but then you've got the younger Moore coming up, and Emily, the defensive specialist. And Covenant is going to knot this one up at 5. With that point, Danny Miller will come out on the court, give his team some instructions, and in the meantime, it's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore, back to the line to serve, looking to put the Scots back in front. 5-5 contest here. That one is over to Smoot, but Smoot, and a great save by Stanley. Courier does a nice job reaching out, getting a fist on the dig from Stanley right there, but unable to get anything going, unable to get the ball over the net. And Covenant now pulls in front 6-5, as it's going to be Skylar Moore back on the line one more time, at least for the Scots. Her serve gets over to Shields. Shields, nice form and set. Marks over to Courier. Courier, and a nice play there by number 17, Seahorn. And Sarah Smoot gets up there, and that is number 11, Allie Jackson. Number 17, Jessica Seahorn, coming through with a huge block for the Scots, which will give Covenant its biggest lead of the match, of the set thus far, at 7-5. So Moore back to serve again. Sarah Smoot. Keenan Marks over to Brianna Williams. Williams gets up, met at the net by Covenant. Shields to Smoot. Smoot's going to push that one over to Moore. And that's going to be number 17, Seahorn. Skylar Moore playing the ball backwards. Gets it back to her sister, Emily. Ball pushed over by number 11, Jakes. Williams with a great attack, and Williams is going to hammer it home past the outstretched arms of Jenny Moore. And we now have a 7-6 contest. And coming into this match today, I was prepared for a nail biter. Took some anti-anxiety medication, which of course I'm just joking about. But still, really everybody involved here today is going to need it, as these two sides are already showing us they are going to battle it down in the trenches. And there's Moore with a nice attack. Emily Stanley calls off Williams. And that's going to be Dedez. Moore. And that's going to be number 17, Seahorn. And Seahorn is going to beat Averett's defense for the point. And it's now an 8-6 contest. So that's going to be number 16, Hannah Stewart, stepping back to serve for Averett. Or excuse me, for Covenant. Here it comes. Ball is over to Shields. Shields gets it over to Miller, who is now in the game. Dedez. Or no, actually, that's Brooke Aaron. And that's number 5, Jenny Moore. Miller over to Shields. Shields pushes it over. That's going to be Moore, the younger Moore. That's number 17, Seahorn. Over to Miller. Stanley gets it up to Aaron. Aaron, attack met at the net. Ball stays alive. Great rally going on. And Brianna Williams is going to bring it into the slingshot action as she's going to get the point. And it is now 8-7. As it's going to be number 6, Christiana Suma, coming into the game for Averett. And she will immediately step back to serve. And she will get her service over Moore. Over to Moore. Over to Moore again. Miller. And Miller, little confusion there, a little communication breakdown in the words of one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs. And it is now 9-7 in favor of the Scots. So Emily Moore back to serve. The lefty, and that's over to Stanley. That's Miller. Miller over to Shields, and Shields is going to drill one home off the outstretched fingers of Seahorn. Ball drifted back to Harris. Harris unable to get to it. And Hannah Shields says, freight train coming to your house. And it is now 9-8 as Brianna Williams will step back to serve for the Cougars. There's the set by Covenant over to Moore, and Moore hammers that one home. Christiana Suma met by Averett's defense, though. Shields over to the younger Moore. And that is going to be Jenny Moore, and Jenny Moore says my favorite song is Brick House. And she's going to lay one down on Averett's defense. And it's now 10-8 in favor of the Scots as we are inching midway through this first set. Christiana Suma to Miller. Miller over to Shields. Shields a little light tap over, met by Covenant's defense, and that's going to be number 4, Jenny Moore, unable to direct the ball inbounds. And that's going to cut Averett's deficit down to 1 at 10-9. So we're going to have Marks and Courier back into the game for the Cougars. Also, it looks like, trying to see, yes, Dedez is into the game for Averett. Marks back to Emily Moore, and Marks will pick up the service ace. And ladies and gentlemen, don't blink your eyes, but we are tied here 10-10 as Averett has come back and stole some of Covenant's momentum. It really looked like the Scots were gaining it there as they picked up some big points, but Averett able to knot things up on the Marks service ace, and now Marks' second consecutive service ace makes it an 11-10 contest. And ladies and gentlemen, you just better buckle in here. We are going to be in for an absolute barn burner this afternoon. Keenan Marks back to serve. Marks, and Hannah Shields gets up, does her best Kevin Garnett impression. And she is going to put some mustard on that one. And that's going to result in a point sandwich for the Cougars. And it is now 12-10 as the Cougars pick up their second consecutive point with Marks at the service line. Actually, third, excuse me, to pull back in front, 12-10. And that's going to be Jenny Moore. And Jenny Moore says, looks at Christiana Suma, eyes her down and says, you're not getting this one. And that's going to result in a point for the Scots. And it is now 12-11. So Jenny Moore will step back on the service line right now. And, of course, as I was talking about in the post or in the pregame, these Moore sisters, Skylar and Jenny, Averett's going to have to keep an eye on them. And Dedez is going to beat the Scots back line. 13-11 is now your score. Number 3, Hannah Shields back on the line. One thing I love to see is all these players take a look over at head coach Danny Miller, seeing if he has any last-second advice. And Moore with the set over there to number 13, Storm. Storm's attack met by the Cougars. Sarah Smoot with a little finger roll, and look at that right there. Skylar Moore got fancy. hitting the ball across her body going the opposite way, but the weird positioning will hurt more in the end, and despite her excellent effort, she will get hit with the air, and it's now 14-11. Shields' serve skims off the net, and Sarah Smoot gets up there and hammers that one down. 15-11. Covenant wants a timeout. We're going to take it with him here on the Averett Sports Network. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the Averett Sports Network. Since falling down 10-9, the Cougars on a 6-1 run, and it has helped the Cougs pull back ahead by 4. Hannah Shields back to serve, and Moore unable to corral that one in. Give Hannah Shields another service ace and run Averett's lead up to 16-11. So Hannah Shields back on the serve, and that serve drops in there. That's going to had the hiccups. That's going to T-bone Covenant's defense. Yeah, I should say wishbone, actually. And it is 17-11. Hannah Shields back to serve once again. Her serve is over. This time it's going to be Emily Moore there. Ball pushed over. Stanley to Marks. Marks over to Dedez, and Dedez is going to be Jenny Moore. And like NBA Street, the Cougars are heating up. They've got the trail of fire behind them. And it is now 18-11 as Averett trying to pull ahead, trying to pull away here in this set. Averett, Hannah Shields, and a nice play there by Skylar Moore. Dedez to Marks. Marks over to Sarah Smoot, and Sarah Smoot is going to smack that one off of Seahorn's palms. 19-11 is now your score. And Averett just needs 6 points to take an early 1-0 lead in this matchup. Hannah Shields, as I see her mom over there sitting watching her, and Hannah Shields another service ace as Emily Moore makes a great play trying to lay out to that one, unable to do so. And Heyman wants a timeout. We're going to take it with him here on the Averett Sports Network. Cougars in front, 20-11. Keep it locked right here. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Averett Sports Network as Hannah Shields back on the line to serve. 20-11 is your score now as the Cougars are absolutely on fire right now with Shields at the line. So Shields looking back. Here's the serve. That ball gets over, met by Seahorn. That's going to be Skylar Moore over, met by Shields. Marks over to Smoot. Smoot, a great play there by Emily Moore. She's going to get it over to her sister, Skylar. But Skylar will get hit with the air. And we are now looking at a 21-11 game. So Averett really starting to pull away in this one. They have a 10-point advantage. Hannah Shields. And that's Skylar Moore. She's going to get that one over to Hannah Harris. And Hannah Harris is going to stop the Cougars' point streak. with her kill, and it is now 21-12 in favor of the Cougars. Trying to get a view on who's going to be serving for the Scots. It actually looks like number 13, Chloe Storm, and she will get the serve. The shields to Marks. Marks over to Courier, and Courier's attack is met by Hannah Harris, but Harris will end up getting charged with the error. And just like that, Averett will extend its lead back to 10 at 22-12 as we near the end of this first set. Emily Stanley back now to serve. Stanley serve over to number 17, Seahorn. Number 3, Skylar Moore. It's going to be number 6, Hannah Harris. And Hannah Harris is going to baffle Sarah Smoot and Emily Stanley. And Covenant will pick up the point, and it's now 22-13 in favor of the Cougars. So it was a really back and forth first set, and there's the service error that's going to get Averett now at 23-13, but it was a very back and forth set here to start things off. Both teams trading leads. I believe we had about 3 ties and about 3 lead changes. And Averett finding itself down 11-9, battles back and has been on a 14-2, make it 15-2 run now to get itself to set point at 24-13. So Mackenzie Miller back to serve. Mackenzie Miller, the freshman, daughter of head coach Danny Miller. And she is in her first season, first USA South Conference tournament. Miller over to Stanley. Stanley sets that one up to Aaron, met by Covenant's defense. That's going to be number 4, Jenny Moore. And Jenny Moore unable to keep her attack in bounds. And that's going to give Averett a 25-13 first set win. So they're going to switch sides here at the Grant Center here in Danville, Virginia. While they're doing that, we're going to take a break here on the Averett Sports Network. Averett a 1-0 leader right now with a 25-13 first set win. Keep your dial locked right here. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Grand Center as we are just moments, actually seconds now, away from the start of today's second set between the Averett Cougars and Scottsville Covenant College. Averett, a 25-13 winner in the first set to go ahead by an early advantage of 1-0, and it's going to be Jessica Seahorn getting things started for the Scots here in the second set. Her serve over to Stanley. Marks with a set. That's going to get over to Shields. Shields with a little tap. Nice play there by Skylar Moore. That's going to be number 4, Jenny Moore to Marks. Stanley. Shields a little fist bump over to number 3, Skylar Moore. Sarah Smoot with a nice play. Shields an overball. That's going to go to Seahorn. There's Moore over to her sister, Jenny. It's met at the net by Courier and Dez. And a big-time block right there for the Cougars will give them a early 1-0 lead here in the second set. So Hannah Shields back to serve now. Looking to get her side up by a pair of points. And a great play there by Skylar Moore. Sarah Smoot. Moore again over to her sister Jenny. Shields. Seahorn. Great play by Sarah Smoot to keep that one alive. Seahorn a nice play as well. And Sarah Smoot is going to finish off that point. She will finish off that rally. And Averett now holds a 2, or it is now 1-1 actually, as I thought that point was awarded to the Cougars, but it is actually given to the Scots. And it's a 1-1 ball game here as Moore steps back to serve over to Emily Stanley. Stanley to Marks. Marks over to Smoot. And Smoot, a little bit too much sauce on that attack. And that goes out of bounds, and it's now a 2-1 contest. It's going to be number 4, Jenny Moore, back to serve again for the Scots. Moore's serve is over to Stanley. Stanley prepared for it, over to Marks. Marks over to Courier, and Courier is going to hammer that one home. And ladies and gentlemen, the slingshotting continues. 2-2 is now your score. And knowing the way that Forrest Gump loves ping pong, I'm sure that he will love this match here so far as these two teams are battling back and forth. Emily Stanley's serve goes into the net. She will get hit with the arrow. It is now 3-2 in favor of the Scots. Scots looking to bounce back from a little bit of a mental lapse there midway and later in the first set. And there's a service error right there for the Scots, and we've got a tie ball game at 3-3. You've got Mackenzie Miller and Brooke Aaron entering the game, and Miller immediately going back to the line to serve, looking to give her team a 4-3 advantage. So here comes Miller's serve. Miller over to Moore. There's Moore. 2 Moore. And that's going to be number 4, Jenny Moore. And that attack has a little bit too much elbow grease on it. And it is now 4-3 as Mackenzie Miller goes back to the line again. Looking to keep the run going for Averett. And that's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore. Over to Shields. Shields a nice play. Miller with the set over to Brooke Aaron. And what a play by Seahorn. Number 4, Jenny Moore. Stanley now for the Cougars. Brooke Aaron gets up. She is met at the net by Moore and Seahorn. And we're waiting. Sarah Smoot is going to get the kill. And it is now 5-3 in favor of Averett as Mackenzie Miller steps back for her 3rd consecutive serve. 5-3 contest. Miller gets it over to Moore. Moore back over to her sister, Skylar Moore, over to Jenny. And Jenny, a little bit of trouble on that one. Unable to corral it in. And that's going to give Averett a 6-3 lead. So right now, I think one easy word that can be used to describe this matchup so far is momentum. And Miller serve into the net. She knows exactly what she did wrong. You see her she dropped her wrist, saying I got a little bit too low on that one. So number 3, Skylar Moore, now back to serve for the Scots. Looking to get Covenant 1 point closer at 6-5. So that's Hannah Shields. Shields to Miller. Miller over to Brianna Williams. And a great play there, but Williams beats Skylar and Jenny Moore. 7-4 is now your score, and Williams is such a dangerous player, a sophomore. Williams comes in. She stands in at 5'7". So when she gets up there and really gets her legs in her jump, she's probably pushing 6 feet with that jump. And that gives her a lot of power. And Hannah Shields just about knocks the stitching out of that ball. 8-4. So as I was saying earlier, momentum, definitely one of the things as both sets so far early in the set. There's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of teams, a lot of trading points between the two teams. But right now, Averett has been able to gain a little bit of momentum midway through the set, and it's led to them with a 1-0 advantage thus far and an 8-4 lead in this set. Hannah Shields getting up. Number 4, Jenny Moore there, over to her sister Skylar. Skylar over to Hannah Harris, and Hannah Harris drills that one as well. And the Scots now trail by 3. Number 16, Hannah Stewart, coming into the game for the Scots. Covenant, no stranger to the big stage. They have appeared in 3 of the last 4 USA South Conference Tournament Championships. And I believe that is going to be number 11, Allie Jakes, getting credited with the point. Number 17, Jessica Seahorn, was also there. But I believe it was Jakes that got her finger on the ball. So number 16, Stewart, back to serve. That's going to be Aaron trying to get up there, but it's met by Covenant's defense. Number 17, Seahorn. And Seahorn unable to get anything going for Covenant. And it is now 9-6 in favor of Averett. Brianna Williams stepping back on the line, trying to get the Cougars into double digits as we inch towards the midway point of this second set. So that's going to be number 6, Harris. There's a set by number 4, Jenny Moore, and Jenny Moore puts a Nolan Ryan Express on it. Averett's defense ready for it. The youngest Moore there, and she's going to get that one over to Seahorn, and Seahorn throws her whole entire weight behind that one and sends an absolute rocket ship. And in the words of one of my favorite funk artists, George Clinton, that was a mothership connection right there. 9-7 is now your score. So Stanley over to Miller. Miller over to Aaron. And that's going to be number 16, Stewart. Moore over to her sister, Jenny. That's Suma. Now Miller. And that's going to be number 10, Brooke Aaron. And Brooke Aaron is going to get Averett a point. And a 10-7 lead. So Keenan Marks coming into the game for Averett, along with, I believe, the Dez, if I'm not mistaken. So Keenan Marks now back to serve. Marks gets that one over to the youngest Moore. Seahorn, ball pushed over. Suma to Marks. Marks over to Shields, and that's going to be an error on Averett's offense. And that will result in Covenant's 8th point of the set, and only a 2-point deficit now, as it's going to be number 17, Jessica Seahorn, back to serve. She stands back on the line. There's the serve from Seahorn, and Seahorn serve. Too much sauce. And it is now 11-8 in favor of Averett. Hannah Shields. Kind of glad that song came out, Too Much Sauce. It has definitely given me another phrase to throw into my repertoire. And Covenant will get hit with the error there, 12-8. As you all know, I like to try to throw in the little catchphrases and the little fun stuff to keep it entertaining for you all at home. Try to be as descriptive as possible. So Hannah Shields back to serve now. Averett, a 12-8 lead. Wiping a little sweat from the court right now, making sure nobody gets hurt. And here comes the serve from Shields. That's over to Moore. Moore back over to number 13, Chloe Storm. Shields and Courier. And Courier looked like that one was going to cross the line right there, the end line, but it tiptoes the line. In the words of the infamous Johnny Cash song, it walked the line. and stays in bounds, and it's 13-8 now. So Hannah Shields sends a rocket over. Number 9, Emily Moore, ready for it. That's going to go over to her sister, Skylar Moore. Covenant doing a great job keeping the rally alive. Jenny Moore, and Jenny Moore giving it the best effort she has. It will be in vain, though, as chalk up an error for Covenant, and it is now 14-8 as Hannah Shields back to serve one more time, at least. That one gets over. Number 17, Seahorn Stanley with a great diving save. That gets over to Courier, and Courier makes a mustard sandwich out of that one as she really got some oomph behind it. And it is now 15-8, Averett. Averett looking to go up 2-0 as Hannah Shields will step back on the line. That ball over to Seahorn, and that's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore to Jenny Moore, and the dangerous sister combination for the Scots pays off. And it is now 15-9 as number 4, Jenny Moore, will go back on the line to serve. And I believe it's number 6, Hannah Harris, coming back into the game as number 4, Jenny Moore, back to serve. Smoot over to Marks. Marks over to Shields. Shields back over to Jenny Moore. And Hannah Harris unable to get the ball over to the net. And it is now 16-9 in favor of Averett as we are now midway through this second set. Emily Stanley now back to serve. We will see what she can do here. She drops back. Here it comes. That ball gets over to number 4, Jenny Moore. Averett doing a great job of keeping that one alive. Marks doing a great job keeping her eye on it. 13, Chloe Storm doing a nice job too, getting that one over to Jenny Moore. And Jenny Moore unable to get it over. 17-9 is now your score. Covenant wants a timeout. We're going to take it with them here on the Averett Sports Network. Averett in front here in this second set, 17-9. Keep it locked here on the Averett Sports Network. And once again, welcome back here to the Grand Center here in Danville, Virginia, Averett University's North Campus. Emily Stanley over to Moore, over to Harris, and Harris will send a bullet to the back wall here of the Grand Center. And that's going to get the Scots 1 point closer here, 17-10. And that's going to be number 17, Jessica Seahorn, back to serve. Seahorn gets that one over to Shields. Shields over to Marks. Marks to Williams. And that's going to be number 11, Jakes. And I believe number 6, Hannah Harris, coming through with a big block for the Scots. And 17-11 is now the score. So Williams gets that one over. It's going to be met by Storm. That ball is sent over, but out of bounds. And another point goes to the Cougars. And they now take a 18-11 lead. Averett needing 7 points to go up early, 2-0 here. Covenant looking to battle back and even things up. Mackenzie Miller back on the service line here to serve for Averett. She's going to get that one over to Moore. There's a set over to number 4, Jenny Moore. Miller to Stanley. Stanley over to Smoot. Smoot over to number 9, Emily Moore. That's number 11, Allie Jakes. And Allie Jakes can't keep it in between the lines. And the score is now 19-11 in favor of the Cougars. Mackenzie Miller back on the line to serve. Let's see what she can do here. Miller over to number 17, Seahorn. That one's going to get over to number 6, Hannah Harris, over to Shields. And Miller over to Smoot, and Miller and Smoot hook up. And Smoot dust that one. She dusted that one. 20 to 11 is now your score as Miller's back to serve. Miller's serve off the net. Lands right in front of Emily Moore. Emily Moore cannot stretch out enough to get the point. And Averett's going to take a commanding 21-11 lead here, nearing the end of the second set. So Mackenzie Miller over to Jenny Moore, over to Skylar Moore. He's going to set that one up to number 17, Jessica Seahorn. That ball is going to get over to Brooke Aaron. That one is going to be sent over to Moore. That one's going to be sent over to Hannah Harris. And Hannah Harris will get on the score sheet with that attack, and it's now 21-12. So Covenant, a lot of fight in this squad. Do not expect them to go out easily. Both of these teams know what is on the line. And that's Smoot, and a nice block there by Covenant's defense, but Averett ready for it. Brooke Aaron, and there's a pushover. Emily Stanley got caught playing out of position a little bit there. She was trying to get back from the Cougars' attack, unable to do so. And since falling down 10, Covenant has rattled off 2 consecutive points to get back within 8. Number 3, Skylar Moore. That one's going to get over to Williams and make it 3 consecutive points now for the Scots, with the ever-dangerous Skylar Moore back at the line. And it's now 21-14. And I had a chance back about 3 years ago to talk with Skylar and Jenny Moore, and they're both great women, and really wish them the best moving forward as they enter their last year, as they are currently in their last year. One too many touches for the Scots. Makes it 22-14. That breaks 3 consecutive points by the Scots. But the 2 Moore girls, very, very nice young women, very respectful, and definitely wish them a whole lot of success moving forward in whatever it is they want out of life, as they are now just a matter of months away from graduating high school, or graduating college. Christiana Suma over to Skylar Moore, and Moore, she says, hey, I'm just as good as everybody else out on this court. Gets up, gets a point of her own. 22-15 is now your score. Number 16, Hannah Stewart, the junior defensive specialist out of Signal Mountain, Tennessee, went to Chattanooga Christian. Hannah Shields over to Miller. Miller back to Shields. Shields gets up. Nice block there at the net by number 11, Jackson, 17. Seahorn really doing a great job of knowing where they were supposed to be, knowing where Smoot was going to go with that attack, but in the end it's going to be a Covenant error. And Covenant now really finds itself with its back against the wall, down 23-15. So Skylar Moore gets it over to Seahorn. A nice play there by Williams. A little confusion there, and that's going to give little confusion on Averett's defense. And that's going to give the Scots a point, and this game is now 23-16, as it's going to be number 9, Emily Moore, back to serve. She will get that one over to Suma. Suma to Miller. Miller to Shields, and Shields will beat number 9, Emily Moore. 24-16 is now your score. Averett needing just 1 point to take a quick 2-0 advantage here, as it's Keenan Marks who will look to do it. As she steps back on the line, her team needing just 1 point to clinch this set. So Marks will get that one over to number 9, Emily Moore. Ball set. That's Seahorn. Courier. Marks back to Courier. And a little confusion there as that ball had some trouble getting over. It does though. And Shields. And that one is going to go to the Cougars, or go to the Scots. As Shields did a great job of getting that attack off, but cannot keep it in bounds. And that's going to keep the Scots alive for at least one more serve. And Jessica Seahorn will step back on the line to deliver that serve with her team down 24-17. Hannah Shields gets jammed up a little bit, able to keep it going. And Hannah Shields is going to finish off this second set with a kill. And Averett is going to take a 2-0 lead on the strength of the 25-17 lead, 25-17 win. So We're going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network, but when we do, when we come back, we will have the action from the third set. Keep it locked right here. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as we to the Grand Center as we're getting ready for this third set matchup. Averett ahead quickly 2-0 with 25-13 and 25-17 victories over Covenant. And this Averett crowd is coming alive as they realize the Cougars are just 25 points away from their 8th USA South Conference tournament title and a berth in the NCAA tournament. Stanley to Shields. Ball gets over to Moore. Moore's going to push that one over Shields. And that's number 18, Dedez, getting the kill and giving the Cougars a early 1-0 lead. As Keenan Marks will step back to serve again. And see what she's got. That ball is over to number 9, Moore. There's a setup, number 17, Seahorn, to Marks. Marks to Stanley. Stanley over to Courier. There's a set by Covenant. That's going to be number 4, Jenny Moore getting up. Keenan Marks over to Courier. Smoot to Marks to Shields. Great rally going here right now. Jenny Moore. Moore to Smoot. Smoot keeps it alive. Marks over to Shields. And there's a block by the Scots. That's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore, and number 13, Chloe Storm. Getting up there, we're going to see number 6, Hannah Harris, enter the game for Covenant. And we've now got a tie contest at 1 apiece. And it's going to be number 4, Jenny Moore, back to serve for the Scots. She's going to get that one over to Sarah Smoot. Smoot to Marks. Marks over to Shields. That's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore. And number 4, Jenny Moore. Smoot ready for it, though. Moore once again. Number 13, Chloe Storm, makes it rain down there for Covenant. And it is now 2-1. It's number 4, Jenny Moore, now back to serve for Covenant. We've got a 2-1 contest. And here comes Moore. Stanley, Marks, Coyer. And that's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore. Hannah Harris. And that's going to get past the outstretched arms of Sarah Smoot. And Covenant is going to go up 3-1 here as Jenny Moore will drive back to the line again to serve. Covenant knows what's on the line right now. They know they're going to have to get 3 consecutive wins against this tough Cougar team if they're looking to pick up the championship. And a error right there by Hannah Harris will get the Cougars 1 point closer at 3-2. As Hannah Shields drops back, ready to serve. She's back on the line. Here we go. And that's going to be number 17, Seahorn. That's going to be number 16, Stewart. Marks over to Stanley. Coyer. And Stewart. Ball is pushed over by Covenant. Hannah Shields. And Hannah Shields is going to drill one past Hannah Stewart. And we've now got a tie game at 3-all as things are starting to get a little interesting here at the Grand Center. Hannah Shields back to serve again. See what she can do. Shields will get that one over to Seahorn. That ball is pushed over by Skylar Moore. And Skylar Moore doing what the Moores do best. Creating points, creating opportunities for the Scots. And they will put Covenant back in front, 4-3. I believe it's number 13, Chloe Storm, now back to serve. Storm is going to skim hers off the net to Stanley. Stanley to Marks. Marks over to Smoot. Smoot back to Storm. That's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore. Number 4, Jenny Moore getting up there. And Jenny Moore unable to keep things in bounds. And it is now a 4-4 contest here early on in this set. Third set, a very decisive set for the Scots, who are facing a 0-2 deficit right now. So Emily Stanley, too much on it. She will get hit, she will get hit with the service error. And we're now looking at a 5-4 score as it's going to be number 13, Chloe Storm, back to serve. And that was actually number 3, Skylar Moore on the serve. Over to Williams, but that's going to be number 11, Allie Jackson. Number 3, Skylar Moore coming up with the block. And that's going to give the Scots a 6-4 advantage as the Scots are looking to stave off elimination. And Moore serve. A little bit too much WD-40 on that one. And it is now 6-5 as the service error will get the Cougars 1 point closer. And meanwhile, we're going to have Aaron come into the game. And, of course, Brooke Aaron, as we all know, her sister, Paige, was actually a standout player at Averett. Played all 4 years, came back here, coached, and it's now 6-6, as that attack error will knot things up. But Paige actually graduated. She came back and coached. Then she went on to coach her sister for a while at Chatham High School. And now, of course, Brooke follows her sister's footsteps here to Averett. And Williams and Sarah Smoot at the line. And they will be Averett's great wall of defense on that one. And just like that, Averett's going to pull back ahead 7-6. So Mackenzie Miller, who has had a stellar freshman year here at Averett, she will get that one over, but a little bit too much on it as Jenny Moore uses her experience and wisdom and her veteran leadership to call her team off of that ball as it will go out. And we now have a 7-7 contest as it's going to be number 9, Emily Moore, back to serve. So we did have a libero switch in between breaks. Moore was the libero. Well, now Hannah Stewart is libero. So Mackenzie Miller over to Williams. And Williams smokes that one past Hannah Stewart. 8-7 now And that one had a little bit of juice behind it. It's Christiana Suma now steps back on the line to serve. Let's see what she can do here. She will push that one over to Stewart. There is number 3, Skylar Moore. He gets it over to her sister, Jenny. Jenny over to Stanley. Miller over to Shields, and Shields says, freight train coming to your house. And it is now 9-7 in favor of the Cougars as number 6, Christiana Suma, now back on the line to serve. 9-7 as we are inching closer and closer to the midway point of this third decisive set. And Covenant will get hit with the error. And no, excuse me, the point will actually go to Covenant. Looked like they had signaled the point to Averett from up here. And it is now 9-8 as Stewart will drop back trying to knot this thing up for her team. So Miller over to Shields, and Shields drills it. But I tell you one thing, that play right there from Seahorn and Storm was probably one of the best defensive plays we've seen as those two combined to block a Hannah Shields attack, which is never an easy thing. So Stanley over to Miller. Miller over to Shields, but Miller unable to get the pass into Shields' grip. And that's going to make it a 10-9 contest. Now, so Covenant has now rattled off 3 consecutive points here to make this a 10-9 contest. And we're going to see number 16, Hannah Stewart, dropping back to serve once again. Over to Stanley. Stanley to Miller. Miller gets it over to Aaron. And Aaron is going to knot this thing right back up at 10-all. Or no, actually, the point goes to Covenant. 11-9. So Hannah Stewart drops back now for yet another serve. Suma, Miller, Stanley, Stewart, Moore, Williams, Moore. That is Seahorn. Hannah Shields, a nice little touch on that one. And she had a thief's touch on that ball. Little finger roll gets over the net. And it is now 11-10. As Brianna Williams steps back to serve. And that's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore. Miller, Suma. To Aaron. And Aaron is going to knot this thing up at 11. And so after allowing Covenant to come back and steal a little bit of the momentum, Averett able to answer back with a run of its own to knot this one up. So Williams, and she's going to beat number 9, Emily Moore. And just like that, Averett back in front. And Averett basketball head coach, men's basketball head coach David Duino down there with a fancy little behind-the-back pass to get the ball back. Brianna Williams, that's going to get over to Stewart. There's a setup by Moore, and Miller lays out, but she is unable to corral the attack in from number 4, Jenny Moore. And we now have a 12-12 match, and this is more of what we were expecting out of this one. Seahorn drops back. We were not expecting the type of action that we got in the second set where Averett really able to pull ahead by the double digits, and Hannah Shields crushes that one, dropped the anvil down, and it is now 13-12 as Keenan Marks will drop back to serve. Averett needing 12 points to pull ahead in this thing, or excuse me, 12 points to clinch this thing. Marks over to Stewart, Stewart to Moore, Moore over to 13, Chloe Storm over to Miller, Miller, nice play, Marks over to Shields, Shields over to Stewart, Stewart can't haul it in, and it is now 14-12. So Averett looking to try to start pulling ahead. Keenan Marks. And so we're sorry about the technical difficulties there for a second. Had my audio dropped out, but we're good to go now. And Covenant pulled ahead, or got the point, got 13th point, 13. And so now Covenant is going to knot the score, and head coach Danny Miller is none too happy about that one. 14-14 is now your score as Jenny Moore. You do not see Miller fuss with the officials that much, but he was not happy with that one. Shields, Suma to Shields. Shields is going to get that one over to Stewart. That's going to be number 6, Hannah Harris. And Hannah Harris hops on the Nolan Ryan Express on that one, hammering home her kill, and it is now 15-14. And so Jenny Moore back to serve again. Shields over to Marks. Marks over to Aaron. There's the set by Skylar Moore. Harris with the ball over. Stanley over to Courier. Courier back over to Jenny Moore. And that is going to be number 13, Chloe Storm, making it precipitate. And it is now 16-14 in favor of Covenant. So the tides might be turning here at the Grant Center. Jenny Moore with the serve over to Stanley. Stanley to Marks. Marks over to Shields. Shields gets that one over to number 13, Storm, who's ready for it. Back to Jenny Moore. And Jenny Moore is not going to be able to put that one in bounds. A little bit too much on it. Ball goes out, and Averett now trails just by a point, 16-15, as Hannah Shields now drops back to the line. She's going to look over at head coach Danny Miller. We're nearing the end of this third set. Covenant needing a win to stay alive. Averett needing the win to go ahead and clinch and get out of this with minimal damage, a 3-0 sweep. But I tell you one thing, Hannah Harris and the Scots are not ready to go quietly into the good night yet, as Harris is going to pick up a point right there, and we now have a 17-15 game. And it's going to be number 13, Chloe Storm, trying to make it rain again. Stanley over to Marks. Marks over to Courier. Courier's going to push that one over. A great play there by Jenny Moore to keep it alive, and Skylar Moore, but Harris is going to get charged with the error. A two-touch on the ball. And Averett now trails just by one, so that's going to bring Emily Stanley to the service line. And we'll see what Stanley can do. 17-16 is your game, or is your score. Number 3, Skylar Moore, and Skylar Moore getting hit with the error. And we are now knotted up at 17. 8 points as of right now are the difference in this. Of course, if we get to 25 and one team is only leading by 1, then we will keep playing extra points until somebody finally gets ahead by 2. So that's Harris. Shields, and Shields' attack goes into the net. That's going to give Covenant an 18-17 lead. And as I said earlier, Covenant fighting tooth and nail right now. Danny Miller wants a timeout to help recollect his team's thoughts. We're going to take it with them here on the Averett Sports Network. Keep it locked. We'll be back in just a second. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Grant Center. Got about 20 seconds left in this timeout. Got a little Fallout Boy playing over the speakers right now. And of course, right in the middle of college football season, that is definitely a Light 'Em Up is a song we're used to hearing played. Number 3, Skylar Moore back to serve for the Scots. She gets that one over to Smoot. Smoot to Marks. Marks to Williams. Williams is going to beat Covenant's defense. And I tell you one thing, this combination of Skylar and Jenny Moore for the Scots is absolutely dangerous These two women, they know where they need to be on the court. They know where they need to put the ball. They know how to talk. They know how to be excellent teammates. And it's why they are currently at the top of quite a few records at Covenant. So number 17, Seahorn, pushes that one over. And Williams meets number 11, Jakes' attack at the net. Miller to Stanley. Stanley over to Aaron. Aaron over to Skylar Moore. That's going to be number 16, Hannah Stewart. And Covenant gets 1 point closer to making this a 2-1 contest with the point. 19-18 is now your score, as we're going to see number 9, Emily Moore, re-enter the game for the Scots. She will come right back to serve. Moore was serving as the Scots' libero until this set. So Miller over to Williams, and that's going to be number 11, Jakes, and Seahorn at the net, pulling up the big block. And Averett now finds itself in a 2-point deficit. Number 9, Emily Moore stepping back, the lefty, over to Shields, to Miller, to Smoot. And number 4, Jenny Moore, does a great job of playing defense there. Gets up, was ready at the net for the block, but she pushes it out of bounds. Point goes to Averett. And we now have a 20-19 contest, as it's Christiana Suma that will step back on the line to serve, looking to help Averett regain a little bit of the momentum, but her serve into the net. Covenant point, 21-9. Covenant needing just 4 points to force a 4th set and to stave off elimination. The crowd here at the Grant Center trying to rally behind its team, and number 16, Stewart, cannot get her serve over the net. She will get hit with the arrow. And it is now 21-20. The Grant Center is coming alive. Fans from both sides, Covenant and Averett, trying to will their teams to this victory. Williams is going to get that one over to Stewart. There's the setup to Seahorn. Seahorn gets it past Williams. And Miller does a great job of trying to track that one down. Unable to do so, though. And Covenant, with that point, now takes a 22-20 advantage, as it's going to be number 17, Seahorn, back on the line to serve. Here we go. Seahorn gets it over to Suma. Miller does a great job of laying out for that one. Shields. And Shields walks the line on that one, buddy. That could have had no more than maybe about a hair's worth of space before going out of bounds. But her attack gets the Cougars within 22-21. Kean Marks back to serve for Covenant, or excuse me, for Averett. Getting a little too excited here, ladies and gentlemen, but who can blame me? These two gladiators going at it. Jenny Moore gets up. Jenny Moore's going to drop it in. And we now got a 23-21 contest. Scott's on the verge of set point. 23-21, as the dangerous Jenny Moore will step back on the line to serve. Here it comes. Her serve off the net. Shields having to get down to get that one. She does, though, over to Marks. Shields back over to Jenny Moore. And a little defensive battle at the net. And that's going to go to Covenant, who now takes a 24-21 lead. And head coach Danny Miller wants a timeout. We're going to take it with him here on the Averett Sports Network. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Grant Center, East Stewart Grant Center at Averett University's North Campus. And Averett trails 24-21 right now, as Jenny Moore looking to help her side get on and survive at least another set, as Covenant needs just the 1 point to make that happen. So here we go. And her serve is in the net, 24-22. So Hannah Shields back on the line to serve. And you almost got to wonder, did that timeout maybe freeze the Scots a little bit? Did the timeout from Danny Miller maybe freeze them? Hannah Shields back on the line. That one gets over to Stewart. Moore over to her sister Jenny. Stanley. Courier pushes that one over to libero Stewart. Hannah Harris is there. Great play by Covenant to keep it alive to Shields. Shields to Marks. Marks to Smoot. Smoot trying to push it over. She's unable to. And just like that, Covenant will take the third set and force a fourth one by a final score of 25-22. So the drama continues here on a cloudy Saturday afternoon in Danville, Virginia. We're going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network, but we will be right back in about 3 minutes with all the action from the fourth set. Keep it locked on the Averett Sports Network. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as this superior action continues here at the Eastwood Grant Center on Averett University's North Campus. And it's going to be number 17, Seahorn, starting things off for the Scots. That's Keenan Marks to Stanley. Stanley pushing it over. There's a set to Marks. And the error will get the Cougars on the board here early on, 1-0. So Covenant with the victory in the last set will give the Cougars their first loss here in the USA South Conference Tournament. First set loss, that is. And Jenny Moore gets up there, but that is Dedez and Lindsay Courier playing the fantastic duo right there, getting up, getting a block. And Averett out to a quick 2-0 lead as Hannah Shields back to serve now. Cougars out in front 2-0. So Shields gets that one over. That's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore, over to Shields. Marks over to Smoot, and a big block there by Moore and number 13, Chloe Storm. Smoot pushes it over. That's Moore to Storm, and Storm cannot walk the line, cannot keep it in bounds. And Averett has now rushed out to a quick 3-0 lead. Hannah Shields back on the line to serve yet again for the Cougars. Covenant still unable to get her off the line. That goes over to the libero, Stewart. Marks to Smoot, and Smoot gets up there, Stanley, but the point is going to go to the Scots, as it was number 3, Skylar Moore, and number 13, Chloe Storm, stepping up big defensively for the Scots. And now Moore's sister, Jenny, will step back to deliver a serve, looking to get the Scots their second point of the contest. That one's over to Emily Stanley. Stanley to Marks. Marks over to Smoot. Smoot a little finger roll. Moore over to Storm. Marks over to Courier, and that's going to be number 6, Hannah Harris, coming up with a big-time block. And actually, excuse me, that point went to the Cougars. Must have been a block error. 4-1 is now your score, as Emily Stanley will drop back to the service line now, trying to get the Cougars out to a 5-point lead here. Emily Stanley leads the conference with 71 service aces. So Keenan Marks over to Courier. And that one is going to fall harmlessly out of bounds for the Scots. And they now get to within 2 at 4-2. So it's going to be number 11, Allie Jakes, coming into the game for the Scots. And it's going to be number 13, Chloe Storm, back to serve. Storm over to Smoot. Smoot to Marks. Marks to Williams. Williams gets up. A nice play there. Moore pushing it over. Stanley. And Smoot does a great job of hustling that one down, but it's in vain, as Skylar Moore just put the right amount of touch on that one, put it in the right place to make it almost impossible for the Cougars to get to. And the Scots now trail 4-3 with number 13, Storm, back at the line to serve again. Storm gets it over to Shields. Shields to Marks. Marks over to Smoot. And Smoot give her the kill as she dials the ball up in her scope and hammers it home. 5-3 is now your score in favor of the Cougars. Aaron into the game now, along with Miller. So 2 local Danville products into the game right now. As Miller steps back, 5-3 is your score. So Miller gets that one over. That's going to be number 16, Hannah Stewart. That ball is set up to Harris. And Covenant unable to make anything happen with that, and they now trail 6-3. So everything from here on out is an elimination for Covenant, as they will have to win 3 in a row. And they're going to move on, and Jenny Moore cannot get her return over the net. And it is now 7-3. As Mackenzie Miller will drop back to offer the serve with her team ahead by 4. So Moore over to Moore. And that's going to be number 11, Jakes, doing her best Dr. J impression right there with the finger roll. Nothing going. And number 3, Skylar Moore. What a quick flick of the wrist right there. She almost looked like a old gunslinger from the West, as fast as she got that wrist to that ball and got it over for the Covenant point. And she will now go back to the line and serve. So Shields over to Miller. Miller over to Smoot. Smoot is going to hammer that one off of Hannah Stewart's outstretched hands. And Averett now takes its biggest lead of the set at 8-4. So Averett needing 17 points to bring home its 8th USA South Conference title. Meanwhile, Covenant looking for its 2nd. Suma. Moore over to Seahorn, and Seahorn is going to go drilling for oil right there as she hammered that one, but unable to keep it in bounds. And a 9-4 ball game is now your score. Christiana Suma once again back at the line for Averett. So here we go. Suma over to Moore. Moore back to her sister Moore. Over to Hannah Harris. Stanley. Shields. Stewart. Skylar Moore. Seahorn, Miller, Stanley, and Brooke Aaron will finish off that rally with a point. And it is now 10-4. Covenant's going to take a timeout. We're going to take it with them. We will be right back here on the Averett Sports Network. Keep it locked down. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back. And if you're just joining us, bienvenidos. Welcome here to the Averett Sports Network. Cougars holding a 10-4 advantage now as Christiana Suma will drive back to the line. We'll see what she can do here with her side holding on to a 6-point advantage. Suma gets that one over to Jenny Moore. Skylar Moore over to number 11, Jakes. Jakes ready for it. That is going to be Hannah Shields. And Hannah Shields is going to pick up the point, and it is now 12-4 in favor of your Cougars, or excuse me, 11-4 in favor of your Cougars. As Suma will step back on the line to serve once again. And Suma line drive serve right to Jenny Moore. Seahorn back to Moore. Suma, Williams. Stanley does a great job of recovering. Covenant's wanting an extra touch on the ball. They will not get it. And Stanley just misjudged that one a little bit. And the ball will fall to the floor for an Averett, or excuse me, for a Covenant point. And it will trim Covenant's deficit to 11-5. Meanwhile, number 9, Emily Moore, the defensive specialist, will step in and step on the back line to serve. Her team facing elimination here. Stanley to Miller, over to Shields, and Shields hammers that one home. I feel sorry for the net as that slammed in net. Shields, and she's going to not be able to get that one past Stewart. And Covenant now trails by 4. Really great volleyball being played here by these two sides. Two great teams with a lot of history behind them. And they're both trying to get on to the NCAA tournament. And Hannah Shields thought she had gotten her team one step closer to that goal, but she was unable to. She wasn't able to keep her serve in bounds. And it is now 11-7, or her return, excuse me, in bounds. So it's more back to the line again for the Scots. Over to Stanley. Stanley over to Miller. Miller to Williams. And Williams will hammer that one past the outstretched arms of Hannah Stewart. And we are now halfway through this fourth set. Averett with a 12-7 lead as Brianna Williams will drop back to serve. Let's see what she can do and see if she can keep this momentum going. Williams, and Williams a little bit too much sauce on that serve. Goes out of bounds, and it is now a 12-8 competition in favor of the Cougars. Got number 16, Hannah Stewart, dropping back to serve now for the Scots. Her serve bounces off the net. Miller over to Shields, and a nice block right there by Chloe Storm, and Jessica Seahorn will give Covenant the point, and it is now 12-8, so there's no quit in this Scots team. There's a reason they are called the Scots. They are warriors, they are battlers, and that is what they are doing here today, trying to keep their season alive. Hannah Stewart, and Hannah Stewart with the service ace, and that's going to make it a 2-point contest. And hats go off to this Covenant coaching staff, Joanna Amon and Christy Newman and Stephanie Wharton. Really done a great job, and number 16, Stewart, unable to get her serve over, so Marks and Courier coming back into the game. for the Cougars. 13-10 is your score. Averett in front. Averett needing just one more set to move on to the NCAA tournament and continue its magical season. So Keenan Marks back to serve. Marks a line drive over to Moore. Her sister Moore. Moore back to Moore. Marks, nice little finger roll over, but Covenant ready for it, and that's number 17, Seahorn. And Seahorn tried to get up there and get the point for Averett, but she was unable to, and it is now 14-10. So Marks drops back again over to Jenny. And a great attack there by Seahorn, but Summer ready for it. Little finger roll from Shields. Covenant ready for it. A great play by Seahorn to keep that one alive. Marks over to Courier. And Courier is going to pick up the point for the Cougars. And it is now 15-10. So Keenan Marks on the line. Of course, if you are a fan of Averett Volleyball, you know Averett was eliminated in last year's championship 3-2 at the hands of Merida College. And Keenan Marks over Courier. Courier does a great job chasing it down. But Madison Dedez will roll that one off the head official's shoulder. And that makes it a 15-11 competition now as number 17, Seahorn, back to serve. Seahorn gets that one over to Shields. And little miscommunication there by the Cougars will lead to a Covenant point. And the Scots now trail by just 3. Scots know everything that is on the line right now. Seahorn, they know that their season could come to an end here with a loss in this set. And Seahorn's serve is errant, 16-12, and that would mean the end to the stellar careers of 3 seniors for the Scots team. Of course, Jessica Seahorn, Jenny Moore, and Skylar Moore. Hannah Shields. And Jenny Moore is going to get involved in a little bit of more scoring and a little bit of frustration there by Averett. 16-13 is now your score as Jenny Moore. Of course, if Averett loses this game, it will be the end of the careers of 7 seniors. So Stanley to Marks, Marks to Sumo, or to Smoot, and Smoot makes it 17-13. It's been a very enjoyable game to watch, very close action here between these two teams, and Emily Stanley is going to get that one over. Moore over to number 6, Hannah Harris. It's number 3, Moore, with her quick wrist. Marks over to Smoot. Seahorn calling for it, and a great play by Stanley to keep that one alive. Both of these teams battling it out right now, and Sarah Smoot will make sure Averett wins the battle. And it is now 18-13. And that's going to make this Grant Center come to life. Stanley back to serve now. Her team needs just 7 points for the championship here. Moore over to Hannah Harris to Marks. Stanley over to Courier, and Courier unable to keep it in bounds. 18-14 is now your score. 4th set action from the 2017 USA South Conference Tournament Championship game. Try saying that 5 times fast. I don't want to. The serve over by the Scots. Williams to Shields. Marks over to Courier, and that's going to be met there by number 11, Jakes, and number 13, Storm, but the block goes out of bounds. They will get hit with the block error, and it is now a 19-14 game as Miller back on the line. Miller trying to pick up a USA South Conference Tournament Championship in her first year here at Averett. So Miller over to Moore. Moore back to her sister Moore. Over to Harris. And that is Aaron. And Aaron unable to get the point, and it is now 19-15. And, of course, it's also important to say that it would be It would be Aaron's first USA South Conference championship, and we're going to see Jordan Minton coming into the game now for the Cougars. So Miller trying to push it over. She's able to keep it alive for a little bit, and Aaron tries to get up there and keep the rally alive, unable to do so, though. And that's going to cut the Scots deficit down to 3 at 19-16. And the action just keeps on going here. Number 3, Skylar Moore, back to serve. And here it comes. Hannah Shields to Miller to Aaron. Aaron back to Moore. And Covenant unable to keep it alive. And Averett now just 5 points away from a USA South Conference Tournament championship. 20-16 is the score. Suma back to serve. Covenant needs at least 9 points right now to keep their season alive. Some more. Seahorn pushes that one over. Miller over to Stanley. Stanley over to Aaron. And Aaron, a little bit too much sauce on that attack. And we're now looking at a 20-17 contest now. As I said, both of these teams, they know it is survive and advance time. Both of them are looking to try to keep their seasons, their respective seasons alive. Moore with the serve. Shields, an overball. Over to Seahorn. Williams trying to keep it alive, unable to do so, and it's now 20-18 in favor of Averett. Head coach Danny Miller wants a timeout, and guess what? I want one too, so we're going to take it with him here on the Averett Sports Network. Averett in front, 20-18. Fourth set action coming up when we return. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as we are one step closer to ending this fourth set. Covenant trailing 20-18 as it will be number 9, Emily Moore, back to serve for the Scots. Her serve is over to Stanley. Stanley to Miller. Miller over to Aaron. Moore ready for it. Moore back over to Seahorn. Stanley, Miller. Shields, and Shields is going to drill that one right in front of number 9, Emily Moore. 21-18, Averett 4 points away. Brianna Williams back to serve now, 21-18. There's the set, ball pushed over, and number 11, Allie Jakes, put some elbow grease behind that one, beats Brianna Williams. Libero Emily Stanley back into the game. 21-19 is now your score, as number 16, Hannah Stewart, will drop back to serve. Stewart over to Shields. Shields over to Aaron. Aaron back over to Shields, and that is met at the net by the dangerous defensive combination of Jessica Seahorn and Chloe Storm. And the Scots now trail by 1. This has more drama than a telenovela, excuse me. Miller, and another block by the Scots, and we're now tied at 21-21. Averett reeling right now. Covenant with all of the momentum. The Grant Center crowd trying to get Averett back on its feet. Number 16, Hannah Stewart, back to serve again. 21-21 is your score. And here we go That's Shields. Miller over to Aaron. And a nice play there by Stewart. And Jenny Moore does a great job of trying to get up and get that one over, but she bangs it into the net. And so Averett now with a 22-21 lead. Keenan Marks back to serve. Let's see what happens here. Averett needing 3 points to clinch this one. Covenant needing at least 4 to move on. And Hannah Shields. And it is now a 23-21 game. This Grand Center crowd is feeling it. And Covenant is going to take a timeout. We're going to take it with them here on the Averett Sports Network, but we will be back with the concluding points of this set when we return. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back here at the Grand Center at Averett University's North Campus. Keenan Marks, as Averett is now just 2 points away from a USA South Conference tournament title. Moore, Courier, Marks, Hannah Shields. Nice play there by number 16 of the Scots. Number 13, Storm, gets it over. Stanley over to Courier. That's going to be met by Stewart. And that's number 17, Seahorn, getting up there for a big-time kill. Seahorn looked like she was trying out for the WNBA on that, as she got some major ups. Hammered that one home to the left side of the court, the opposite side of the court, 23-22. And ladies and gentlemen, the drama continues. Seahorn, Marks, Shields trying to push that one over. And number 3, Skylar Moore, proves how dangerous she is, and this timeout has really done some wonders for Covenant. They have rattled off 2 consecutive points to tie this one up at 23-23. Jessica Seahorn. This is where the rubber meets the road, ladies and gentlemen. Hannah Shields to Keenan Marks. Keenan Marks up, back over to Shields. Shields drops it in, 24-23. Set point. Averett needs just one more. Averett needing just one more to lock this thing down and get its 8th USA South title, tournament title. Here we go. Hannah Shields back on the line. Hannah Shields gets that one over. Moore over to her sister. Moore met at the net. And that point is going to go to the Scots. This Averett home crowd thought the Cougars had it locked up, but it was an error on the play. 24-24. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have a heart problem or nerve problems, you need to turn this one off right now because it's about to get wild. Jenny Moore over to Stanley. Marks over to Courier. Nice play there by the Scots. And Moore with her quick wrist again. Marks over to Smoot. And Smoot's going to drop that one down. 25-24. We are headed to extra points. And here comes that telenovela drama I was talking about. Averett needs just one more to win. Emily Stanley now back. You can cut the tension with a butter knife here, ladies and gentlemen. Seahorn over to Moore, over to her sister Jenny Moore, and Jenny Moore is going to come through big for Covenant, 25-25. And the slingshotting continues. This has been insanity, this set. And fans have gotten what they had paid for here today at the Grand Center. Chloe Storm on the serve. Williams trying to drop it over. Moore over to Harris. There's the block met at the net. Ball is still in play. Marks to Stanley. Stanley over to Courier. Nice play there by number 4, Jenny Moore. She's going to get over to Seahorn. And just like that, Seahorn has given Covenant the lead. And now Covenant is on the verge of set point, needing just 1 point. And head coach Danny Miller is going to take a timeout. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a timeout with him. I'm going to go try to find something to calm my nerves a little bit because this has been a wild one. Coming in with a 26-25 advantage here in the fourth set. Keep it locked right here on the Averett Sports Network. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are back here on the Averett Sports Network. 26-25 coming in lead. And just for those of you who are maybe tuning in, Covenant came into the third set trailing 2-0. Rattled off the third set win, and now they are one away from picking up a win now, but that's going to be number 13, Chloe Storm. Too much on the serve, 26-26 is now your score. So we're going to have at least 28. It's going to take at least 28 to win it, as Mackenzie Miller will step back on the line for the serve. And Mackenzie Miller is going to get that one over. A nice play there by the Scots defense. That's number 6, Hannah Harris. Williams gets up a nice block at the net by number 11, Allie Jakes. And Allie Jakes has been everywhere for this Scots defense in today's contest, coming up with some big blocks. So Covenant now at set point, number 3, Skylar Moore back to serve. Looking to continue her collegiate volleyball career. At least one more set. Shields over to Miller. Miller to Smoot. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, Hannah Harris and Allie Jakes team up for the block. 28-26 is the final in the fourth set. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, the drama continues. We will go to a decisive fifth set. We're going to take about a 2.5-minute break here. Or actually, no, we're pretty much just going to jump right into the action, I think, here in this fifth set. I couldn't remember. No, it's 15. It's 15? Yeah. So the first part's 15. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back here at the Grant Center, and the drama continues. Despite falling down 2-0, Covenant has come back to win 2 sets, including that last one in extra points, to even things up at 2. And let's just go over the rules for 5th set in case you're not familiar with them. First team to 15, and ahead by 2 will win this one. So Keenan Marks pushes that one over to Courier. Moore. Back over to Jenny Moore. And Jenny Moore, and Covenant will pick up the first points of the set. 1-0 is your score. Number 4, Jenny Moore, back to serve. Here we go. Emily Stanley. And Covenant has rushed out to a quick 2-0 lead. Averett needing to regroup right now. Number 4, Jenny Moore, back to serve once again for the Cougars. Here we go. That one off the net. Stanley there, marks to Shields. And let's see if that one stays alive. Moore does a great job making the play against the table. Seahorn, Stanley, Shields to number 16, Stewart. That's going to get the ball back over to number 6, Harris. Great rally going right now. Harris and Covenant out to a quick 3-0 lead. And Averett right now desperately trying to get some of its momentum back, as Moore will step back on the serve for the 4th consecutive time to open up the set. And she will now have 5 consecutive serves, and it is 4-0. And Danny Miller is going to take a timeout. We're going to take it with him here on the Averett Sports Network. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we will have the rest of the action from this decisive 5th set here on the Averett Sports Network. Keep it locked. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back here to the Grant Center. So Averett, after getting 2 straight wins to open up this match, 2-0, have now lost the last 2. They trail 4-0 here in the start of this 5th set, and Averett definitely needing to try to figure something out more. Over to Stanley. Stanley to Marks. Marks over to Shields. Shields gets up, and Shields will give the Cougars their first point of the contest, or first point of the set, 4-1. So Shields back to serve again. Sorry there, almost tripped. Walking down the stairs here, trying to get a little bit closer to the action for you guys. Marks over to Sarah Smoot, and Sarah Smoot is going to hammer it home to Seahorn. And Averett has now cut its deficit to 2. Let's see if they can keep things rolling, as Hannah Shields is going to step back now to serve. Here we go. And Shields to serve a little bit too much. 5-2. So Covenant 10 points away from completing a improbable 3-0 comeback. So number 13, Chloe Storm, back to serve. This goes to show you how well this Scots team is coached. Keenan Marks over to Sarah Smoot, and Sarah Smoot will wishbone the Covenant's defense, and it is now 5-3. Emily Stanley back on the line now. And, of course, as I said earlier, if you are unfamiliar with volleyball 5th set rules, it's first team to 15 as long as you win by 2. So Stanley, Moore, over to Harris, and Harris puts too much on it, 5-4. And ladies and gentlemen, in the words of one of my favorite actors from one of my favorite movies, Danny Glover, Lethal Weapon, I am getting too old for this. And Emily Stanley back to serve. 5-4 ball game. Moore over to number 11, Jakes. Marks over to Smoot. Smoot pushes it over. There's a set from Moore. Jenny Moore pushes it over, and Jenny Moore using a little bit of touch right there to get the point for Covenant, and it is now 6-4 Scots. As that's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore, coming back to the line to serve. And here we go. That ball is over. Shields to Marks. Over to Courier. Courier, a nice return there by Skylar Moore. Her sister Jenny Moore now. Emily Stanley, a great defensive play. 6-5 as Emily Stanley ranged to her right, falling on the ground to pick up that point. And it is 6-5. And ladies and gentlemen, I had to thank both of these two sides for an extremely entertaining game today. Mackenzie Miller, it's a shame that somebody has to lose this one. So number 4, Jenny Moore. So Moore thought about a set, changes her mind, goes with the attack. Sarah Smoot with the overball. Back over to Moore. She's going to get over to her sister Skylar. Hannah Harris, great play on the back line by Shields. Miller keeps it alive. Sarah Smoot with the overball. That's going to be number 16, Hannah Stewart. Moore keeps it alive over to Hannah Harris. Great play there by Sarah Smoot to lay out. Hannah Shields gets up. Nice play there by Jenny Moore. And what a rally we've got going here. And that's going to be number 17, Jessica Seahorn, ending it with her point. And it is now 7-5. And Averett's season is now 8 points away from being eliminated, or from being over. So that's going to be number 9 now. Emily Moore stepping back to serve for Averett, or excuse me, for Covenant. Moore, the lefty, over to Stanley. Stanley ready for it. Miller lays out. Brooke Aaron pushes it over. That's going to be number 3, Skylar Moore, getting it back. Number 17, Seahorn. And she's going to beat Jessica, or she will beat Hannah Shields. 8-5 is now your score. And they're going to go ahead. We are now midway through this 5th set, so we will switch sides. And we'll see if maybe the left-hand side of this court won't be a little bit nicer to Averett. They trail by 3. Similar situation happened with the Cougars last year. Averett racing out to an early 2-0 lead. Meredith College came back and took three matches in a row to take it 3-2. And Averett's going to want to take a timeout, and that doesn't sound like a bad idea. I'm going to take it with him here. Once again, we are midway through the final 5th set of today's USA South Conference Tournament Championship game. Covenant holding on to an 8-5 lead. Keep it locked right here on the Averett Sports Network. We'll kick it back to you in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Grant Center. 8-5 Covenant as Moore, the younger of the 3 Covenant sisters, back to serve. So Aaron, Sarah Smoot, and Sarah Smoot says freight train coming to your house. And she will hammer home a point. It is now 8-6 Covenant. Christiana Suma coming into the game for the Cougars. She will immediately drop back and serve. Averett needing 2 points to tie. Here we go. Christiana Suma. And Christiana Suma with the service ace. And it is now a 1-point contest. And ladies and gentlemen, have we had a wild one here this afternoon. Christiana Suma now back looking to try to tie it up for the Cougars. That ball is played over. Number 16, Hannah Stewart. And that's going to be number 17, Seahorn. Miller ready for it. Miller's just going to go ahead and send that one over. She will meet Emily Moore. That's going to be Jenny Moore trying to get the ball over now. And Hannah Shields now. Hannah Shields getting up, and Hannah Shields is going to be Jenny Moore and Hannah Stewart. And we've got a tie contest. Covenant is going to take another timeout. We're going to take it with them. And just pray that things don't get a whole lot more tense here, because I don't know how much I can take it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network, but when we come back, we will have the rest of the action live and direct from the Grant Center. Keep it locked. Once again, welcome back here to the Averett University Sports Network. Christiana Suma back to serve for the Cougars, trying to give Averett its first lead of this decisive fifth set, and unable to do so as her serve goes into the net. Covenant now finds himself back in front, 9-8. And the craziness continues back and forth. These two teams are going. Hannah Stewart, Stanley, Miller, Shields, and Shields is going to knot the score back up once again. 9-9 is the score. And it sounds like I'm speaking German right there, and I'm saying no, but it is 9-9. Williams, and Williams serve into the net, and it is now 10-9. Covenant back in front. So number 17, Jessica Seahorn, back to serve. That serve is over Suma to Miller. Miller to Dez. Stanley, Shields. Nice play there by Seahorn. That ball is pushed over by Moore. So Miller over to Shields. Aaron, Miller, Shields once again, and Shields! And that one looked like it had caught the corner. Line judge says it did not. She's got a better view than we do. And Covenant now 11-9, 4 points away from the USA South Conference Tournament title. And it's second in 4 years. And that serve, a little bit of a breakdown on the part of the Cougars. They thought that that serve was going out of bounds. It stays inbounds. And it's now 12-9. Covenant needing just 3 points to end things here. Seahorn to Shields. Shields to Miller. Miller over to Aaron. And now 13-9. And number 17, Seahorn, back to serve. Suma unable to do so, and that's set point. And it seems like Covenant is going to be on the verge of winning 3 in a row to come back and take the 2017 USA South Conference Championship. Of course, a lot can still happen. Hannah Shields over to Miller. Miller back over to Shields, and Shields is going to keep Averett alive at least one more time. We're going to have Keenan Marks, Lindsay, and Courier come back into the game now for the Cougars, who now trail by 4. Keenan Marks back on the line to serve, looking to keep Averett's season alive. Here we go. Marks. There's a set. Jenny Moore pushing that one over. Marks over to Stanley. Stanley to Marks. Marks gets that one over. Seahorn. Suma ready for that one. Marks over to Stanley. Moore pushes that one over. Stanley. Marks. Great defense there by Moore. Moore to Moore to Moore. Stanley. Marks. Shields. And a great play there by Hannah Stewart. Keep that one alive. Courier. Marks. Back over to Courier. And that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Covenant has pulled off an improbable 3-set comeback to stun the Cougars 15-10. Covenant's season will continue with a berth into the NCAA tournament automatic on the strength of their conference championship. Meanwhile, Averett, with its 30-plus win season, does have a likely chance of sneaking in as an at-large bid into the tournament, but definitely not the way that Miller wanted the season to end. I know Miller definitely wanted to control. Miller and his Cougars wanted them to control their fate. Unable to do so, though. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here on the Averett Sports Network. Thank you for joining us this volleyball season. And make sure you keep it tuned to AverettCougars.com and all our social media pages to make sure you stay updated on everything here Averett volleyball related. And congratulations to the Covenant Scots as they are the 2017 USA South Conference Tournament champions. Thanks again for tuning in this season, and hope you have a great rest of the day and happy holidays.